Beruchim habayim, welcome to the first part one of the Hilchot Nidda class. The truth is we're doing this class during Shovivim, because Shovivim is a time where you can work on everything that has to do with Nashim, all the arayot and all the problems that we have during Shemot. In a leap year we have Tirumat Etzaveh. It's a time where Hashem gives you that you're able to work on these things. And what more so to use that to work on Torah with the Arayot Shel Kedusha, which is Hilchot Nidda. Okay, now, the first thing and most important thing to know is that when a woman feels a hargasha, which means when she has a certain sensation, a certain feeling, she is considered a nidda right away, when she feels a hargasha. Now the Petchet Teshuvah tells you what the three hargashot are that the woman feels, and that she's considered a nidda. I'm going to read it inside. Ayin Beretev Veda Deshlosha Minei Hargashot Yesh. There are three types of hargashot. The inyan sheteh teme'ah medoraita. Echad, the first one, shenizdazeh gufa, where her body starts to tremble, it starts to shake. At that moment, when she has this sensation of trembling and shaking, she turns into a nidda. Bet, the second thing, the second hargasha, sheniftach mekora, when she feels her mekod, her uterus opening up. Once she feels her uterus opening up, we say she's considered a nidda deoraita right away. And the third thing is found b'shut acharonim k'shemerageshet shedavar lach zav mimena mebifnim, when she feels a certain flow from the inside of her body. When she feels this flow, she's considered a nidda deoraita. Now, there's a dispute in the acharonim whether this flow is a flow from on top, a higher or lower flow, but everyone agrees that it must be felt inside of her. If it's felt coming out of her body, running down her leg or anything like that, that's not going to be a problem of hargasha medoraita. Now, nowadays, women don't have hargashot. Whenever a woman says, I felt something, this and that, the rabbi says it's nothing. There's no such thing as hargashot now. Times have changed, the bodies have changed, so there's no problem with that. But there are three times that we say she's still considered a teme'ah deoraita, she's considered a nidda deoraita, and these three times are all because we are afraid that she felt the hargasha and she didn't know it was a hargasha. Now, when were these three times? Number one, a bitigat ed. When she does a check, a woman has to do a check. Whenever she does a check, if she sees blood on it, we say she had a hargasha, and the reason why she didn't feel the hargasha was because she was doing a check, and the sensation she was feeling was really hargasha, and she thought it was from the check. The second one is bizman shemishamesh. At the time when she's having relations, when a woman's having relations, and she sees blood after, we say that blood came because of a hargasha. Why didn't she feel the hargasha? Because it was her husband. Her husband was having relations with her, and the eved was what she was feeling. She thought she was feeling, but really it's a hargasha. And the third one is ta'ata behargashat meraglaim, that she felt a sensation when she was going to the bathroom, and she thought it was just urinating, but really it was a hargasha, and that's why we say these three times is considered a nidda deoraita. It's a hargasha. Say that?
Yeah.
Now, the third reason is very not common. Why? Because the rabbis get involved in, for her to see that there was blood from the hargasha, it has to be done right away. That means that she needs to do the check mamash a few seconds after she goes to the bathroom. If she does it a little bit after that, we say it wasn't because of the meraglaim, it wasn't because she went to the bathroom, it came after, and that's not considered a teme'ah midoraita, which is going to be very, it's going to change the halakha entirely. How so? Well, before that, if you, the time where we say maybe it would be a problem is if she is super quick, her kid falls, or she needs to answer a phone call and she gets up right away and she does a wipe, then we say that the meraglaim, it was a hargasha and she thought it was meraglaim. But if not, we say it's not going to be a problem. Now, we're going to see now in Kuf Tzadi exactly examples of these. In Kuf Tzadi, it says, she's only asur to her husband when she feels a hargasha. And the Chachamim decreed al ketem shenisna b'gufa or b'gedeh sheyitimah asura. And the rabbis decreed also on a ketem that's found on the body or on the beged that's going to be asura medoraita.
Is it when she sees or when she feels? What's the...
No. So again, regarding the hadgashot, there's 3 times where we're afraid maybe she had a hadgasha, which is by relations, by the bathroom, and by bidikat ed, when she does a check. That's what you meant? Mm-hmm. When she does a check is the 3rd one. Now, if it's not one of those 3, then it's considered a ketem. A ketem is when an item, let's say a cloth, gets a stain on it, an underwear or something like that, which gets a stain on it, and then we say this stain, is it going to be tahor or is it going to be tameh? So now there are
now there's different sizes of what.
Right. So there are 3 types. There are 3 things we need to know about kitten. First of all, as we said last week, it must be a gris ve'od. It has to be a certain measurement. Now this measurement, it's a machloket, whether it's a little bit less than a nickel, maybe it could be lenient like that. For the most part, we go that it's a penny, the size of a penny. So once it's the size of a penny, then we have to show it to the rabbi to see, is it the right color, is it not the right color, to make her tameh or tahor. But if it's less than that, there's no problem. Right? So you can take a penny, you could do it yourself, you could take a penny and see how big this ketim is. The second thing is, it must land on a davar she mekabel tumah. It has to be on something that's mekabel tumah, something that is liable to accept impurity. So, for example, if she goes to the bathroom and she wipes on a tissue we hold is not mekabel tumah because it goes le'ibud, it gets thrown out right away, so there's no problem. So if there's blood on a tissue, no problem whatsoever. If it goes on the toilet seat, there's no problem because it's mechubad karka, it's attached to the ground, so there's not going to be a problem. Or if it goes in the water, that'll be the same din. So anything that's mechubad karka, anything that's not mekabel tumah, better yet, is not going to be a problem. So the first thing is gris ve'od, it has to be a certain size. The second thing is that it has to be on something mekabel tumah. And the third thing is it has to be on the color white. If it's on anything but the color white, it's not going to be a problem. That's why we always tell the people to make sure that the woman is wearing colored bigadim, so she doesn't have any questions anymore whether she spotted or she didn't spot, because it's on red or on black, and it's on red or it's on any other color that they would wear, and it wouldn't be a problem. Like we said, there's a machloket dispute between the Americans and the Israelis. The Americans say that even if it's off-white, it's still okay because it misconstrues the color. The Israelis say that on off-white, it could be an issue, and she should refrain from wearing off-white as well because it's considered like white. Now, regarding wearing black, that's why I posed before. Regarding wearing black, the rabbis say it's better not to wear black, because since this is something that is going to be tahor anyway, since she's tahor, so then you shouldn't wear black. So the rabbis should see exactly what's going on, because maybe if it's too much, they would tell you to refrain for a certain amount of time, for 24 hours or so. So that's why they say wear different colors, so they could at least see that there is blood, and then they can check how much it is. There is in the name of Moshe Feinstein, Rosh Shmuel first did say, he once, it's a famous thing that Rosh Shmuel first said, and I spoke to him about it. He said that even by a ketem, if it's the size of a folded dollar bill, Rabbi Moshe said that it's a problem. We don't go with that, but when we do see something that's half a dollar bill, that much blood, they will tell you for the most part to refrain from having any relations with your spouse during that time.
So which one is it? Penny or is it half a dollar?
No, a penny, if it's less than a penny, is no problem whatsoever.
Oh, for a penny.
Right. If it's, no, so I'm talking about the half dollar is on a davar she'enu mekabel tumah, something that's really no problem whatsoever, or on something that's on colored garments, which wouldn't be a problem. If it's so much that it's the size of a half of a dollar bill, they tell you to refrain. So you show it to the rabbi.
Even if it's on red.
Even if it's on a different color, correct?
Because it's on red. Okay, because it's on red. If it's the size of a half a dollar.
Right, because if it was on if it was on white, then for sure it would be a problem.
That's obvious. Okay.
Right. Exactly. Now, and also a lot of the underwears have by the crotch area has a white pad, which can be an issue. It's better not to use those, because if it's on the white, even though the underwear itself is colored, the rabbi will tell you that you could be tameh because of that. Now, they bring down as well that you should keep your eye out for garments that are laundered, because if they're laundered so much, especially by off-white, and they turn into white, it'll be a problem, and she shouldn't be using those during the non-clean days. Now, a ketem, as we spoke about, could be on anything. It could either be on underwear, which is the most prevalent thing because that's attached to her body. It could be on a towel after the shower. It could be on bed sheets, which we said in Lakewood there was a rabbi that was called out from the Beit Midrash and brought to the man's car, and he had to take out his covers because his covers were white. So they tell you don't get anything white. Don't even get towels that are white. Don't get covers that are white, because then you're gonna have this whole issue and wajaras to go and take it all out and have to show it to the rabbi to see if she's gonna be tamer or tahor. So make sure that it's an off-white color and on. Regarding a ketem, during the 7 days of the clean days, it's the same din as any other day, and it has to be a gris ve'od, it has to be on a davar shemekabel tumah, and it has to be on white.
In order to restart the 7 days.
And for it to be a problem. Right, to reset 7 days, correct.
Those 7 days she should be wearing white, no?
During those days she should be wearing white, unless you get some heter from the rabbi where many times after a baby she spots very, very often and it's not from the period, or she has some type of sickness, or she's going through some type of whatever it is. So many times they'll tell you that you don't have to wear white, especially by Sfaradim, because Maran doesn't actually bring that up so clearly that you have to wear white. That's really a Ramah. We took upon ourselves the Ramah, like the Ashkenazim, to wear white. But halachically, we could have ways around it by Sfaradim, so they'll tell you at times where she doesn't have to wear white. But for the most part, she always has to put on white during the Shiv'an Nikim. Okay, now the Zayin Nikim, the 7 clean days. So before counting the 7 clean days, she has to wait the days of bleeding. So there is a big dispute how many that you have to wait. According to Rabbi Ovadia, like the Shulchan Aruch, it's 4 days. And that's what many people hold. According to basically everyone else, we go like the Ashkenazim, that it's 5 days. And so says the rabbis in Brooklyn and the rabbis in Eretz Yisrael. And Rabbi Shreker from Oleh Simcha told me he sent a letter to Rabbi Zion Abba Shaul. And he told him, he actually asked 2 questions. He said, first of all, do we have to wear white during the Shiva Niki'im? And how many days do we wait? Do we go like to Shulchan Aruch 4 days or not? And he brought back, B'chol Tifusot Yisrael, wherever I went to, they always held 5 days, even by the Sfaradim, and they always wore white.
Where do you get it from?
The Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says 4 days. But for some reason, the minhag was never like that. Minhag changed, or it wasn't like that, and that's why everyone does 5. Cham Yosef told me as well. Cham Yosef,
Which one?
Cham Yosef Harari Rafu. I asked him, I said, can we go with 4? He said, absolutely not. Unless there are times, maybe if she can't have a kid and it's during the ovulation, and he gave me a whole cheshbon how to get out of it to do only 4 during those days. But for the most part, everyone does 5, and if someone would ask me, I would tell him to do 5. Unless he already does 4, then he would continue that 4. There are people that do even more than that. Right? The Sham, my grandfather, Chamtzion Maslaton, had the minhag, like my uncle said, Rabbi Max Maslaton, to do 6 days. The Sham is inserted at 6 days. The Ben Ish Chai brings down 6 days as well.
7 days.
And even they had the minhag in Baghdad to do 7 days. So they would wait 7 days, even though she was clean already, and 7 days for the Shiva Niki'im, so they shouldn't mix it up, having different days, 4 or 5 or 6 or things like that. So they would just do 7 and 7, so they would always be good.
What's the normal one?
But I never saw that minhag being practiced ever.
5.
But the minhag is 5. Unless you learned it differently when you first learned it. Did you do 4?
4.
Okay.
Alright.
Yesh amal ismo.
4 what? What are we talking about? 4?
4 days of the bleeding days. For the most part, they'll bleed till 5 anyway.
Yeah,
She knows that halachot better than me. I'm just saying, I don't really know that.
Right. And so you'll find out of town, like in town communities, will always do 5. Out of town, sometimes they'll tell you to do it less.
4, 5. It's usually 5.
Right.
So it doesn't make a difference. That's what I'm saying. Like, what are we talking about? We're talking about it's going to be.
She's gonna be bleeding for 5. Correct. Okay. Now, very important to know. People get very, very confused about this. The hefsek day. That means you wait the 4 days or you wait the 5 days, like the minhag is, and before Shekiah you do the hefsek, which is the time that you have to show that you're clean in order to count the 7 nikim. Many people get mixed up the first day with the hefsek. It's not like that. The hefsek is before Shekiah of the 5th day, and then the mikveh will be 7 days later at night. For example, if she does the hefsek before sunset on Sunday, she will go to the mikveh Sunday night the next week. Right? 7 days after Shekiyah because you did it before. The first day of clean is going to be the next day. The first day of Shiva Anikim is the day after the Hefsek. The best time to do it is done after Mincha Ketana. If for some reason you can't do it after Mincha Ketana, like the Beit Yosef says, then you could do it earlier, but of course it's not the best way to do it unless it's B'shat Hakadol. If you're afraid that she's going to be spotting, so they say give yourself 30 minutes, and she does a check, and if she still sees blood, then she should clean herself, wait 10 minutes, and then check again, and do it again 3 to 4 times. More than that, they say it's a very irritable area, and it's going to start bleeding, and then you're going to have other issues there, so that's how you should be doing. Try to do it as close to Shekiyah as possible, but give yourself time just in case there's an emergency. A moch dachuk. So a moch dachuk is what they put in before Shkia, and it goes all the way until Tzeta Kochavim, which is around 25 and 30 minutes over here. Rabbi Max Mass told me you could be, since you already have Cheskes Kashrus because of the Hefsek, it's going to be okay to put it in for 25 minutes. They put it in, they do whatever they have to do, and then they take it out and they check it. The color, as the rabbi is going to see, is a different. It can be even a pinkish color to be okay, even if it's more or things like that. They're much more makel on it. If she's in pain or it's hard for her to do it, then she shouldn't do a moch dachuk. The rabbi will tell you not to do it, to not get into these issues. And if you forget to do it, it's okay. You don't have to do it again. So when you get the question, the wife says that I forgot to do the moch dachuk. Do I have to do it now? No, it already passed Shekiyah. You don't have to do it. But it's always best to do it.
And when is it moch dachuk? When? What day of what part of the?
It's after the hefsek. After you do the hefsek and now you're clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's an extra stringency to make sure that it's going to be clean for a prolonged amount of time. So you put it in right after the hefsek.
Which days?
No, the hefsek. It's only the day 5. Day 5 of her bleeding.
Day 5, and the moch is.
The moch is before Shekiyah until Tzeta Kochavim.
On the 5th day.
On the 15th, yeah.
That's it.
You wait 5 days, yeah, only one time. If she spots during the 7 clean days, the rabbis say that you don't have to do moch dachuk again. You have to do the hefsek and then count the 7 clean days, but you don't have to do the moch dachuk.
So what would you say? 1, 3, this, that. Remember you said.
That's different. Okay, we're going to talk about it right now.
Okay.
You see, you're already involved. Now the bidika should be with a cloth that's white and preferably made out of cotton, something that absorbs. Because if not, then the blood doesn't go in. If there is blood, it just stays on the surface, on a synthetic. If the woman doesn't have it, she can use, the best thing to use is going to be the husband's undershirt. She can rip a piece off and use the undershirt, and then she's besed that she can use that, and that's going to be considered the bedika, and she'll be fine with that, and the rabbi will be able to see whatever needs to be seen. A lot of times the women get very OCD, and they start cleaning themselves, and they stick their fingers very high up, which they shouldn't be doing. It should go not until it hurts. It should be going to the chorim mustakim, the lashon is going around in the crevices of her body, but not too high where it's already going to be hitting the uterus. Now, very important, again, as we explained, many people are very nervous and embarrassed, especially women, to give it to the rabbi. But it's very important to know that the rabbi wants to make the man and the woman be together. They want to make them tahor to each other. That's why it's very important to give it. Don't be stringent on yourselves to say, you know what, I can wait another day. It's not a big deal. It should be done right away, and it's a big mitzvah. And the rabbis very much push for it, especially a lot of times we're stringent on colors that are really good. We don't know. We're like, yeah, okay, it doesn't look good. Let's just wait. But really, it is good. So the rabbi can tell you that it's good, and that's the best thing to do it. You're supposed to put it in an envelope in a place where it's not going to get ruined, because if it gets ruined, or if you don't give it right away, it's going to get old and it misconstrues the colors, and then you're going to have bigger issues, because the rabbi's going to have to try to figure out if it was good or if it was not good. And if he doesn't know, he will answer it for sure right away, because he'll have nothing to go on if you tell him that it's late. But the last class, there was someone that was there. That's why I made sure to say it. He gave me, on the day she was supposed to go to the mikveh, from the first hefsek, he gave me the hefsek bedika cloth on the 7th day. And I said, it's 7 days old already. What am I supposed to do with it? And then I had to sit there for a very long time looking at it to try to figure out what I can do with that. And it's not the right way to go about it. You're supposed to put it in a place where nobody sees, or in an envelope, so that it shouldn't get ruined. A lot of times the woman leaves it on top of the table. In Lakewood, there was a rabbi who came to me once, and he showed me this color, and I had no idea what it was. And I said, this isn't a normal color. Maybe she has some type of issue and things like that. Until they realized it was blush. And she put it on her counter over there, and she had some blush, and then it had this purple reddish color, and you had to go to 3 rabbis to figure it out until one of them smelled it, and it smelled like makeup, and they realized it. So always put it in a place where it's sanua, where nothing would get ruined from it. Now, as we said, during the 7 days, she wears white undergarments. If she doesn't have white undergarments for whatever reason, she can wear colored, and she could keep on going until she gets the white, and it's okay. I read that by Rabbi David Elbaz, and Chaim Yosef told me that as well, that it's not ma'akev, and she could even wear colored. And right when she gets white, she should get white. I asked him a question. I said, what happens? I asked him, does she have to bedafka go home to get white underwear, or since she's wearing colored, it's okay? He said she doesn't have to bedafka go home. She can wear colored until she gets home, then she can put it on. Now, every day of the 7 days, you have to do the 2 checks. Right? Many people don't know. There has to be done a check in the morning and a check at night. Bidika every day of the 7 days. Twice a day. Really, it should be done right when it turns daybreak and right when it...
Bidika is just looking.
No, a bidikat eid, I'm sorry. A bidikat eid with a cloth must be done twice a day.
Which is what? Wiping?
No, with the cloth that they take and they put up. And
so it's like a moch.
No, a moch stays there for 25 minutes.
The only difference between the one is, okay.
It's a regular bidika that the woman does.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Right? For the most part, they know what to do, but sometimes they don't know exactly how many they have to do. So they have to do 2 a day in the morning and at night. If, again, there's problems with her or she spots very often and it's not the nidda, you go to the rabbi and they'll tell you that you can do 1 you have to do. You can't miss 1. You could do 1, you have to do 1 and 7, like the Maran says, and the Hakid. A lot of times they'll tell you to do 3 so that you have some leeway just in case she messes up in the middle, that she has from 3 and on. But the best thing to do, of course, the mitzvah is to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 every day, twice a day. But if she can't, she has to make sure she gets that 1 and 7 in for sure. But to be mekil on it, you have to call the rabbi, whichever rav you have, and you have to ask him, you tell him the scenario, and for the most part, they'll be mekil on it, and they'll tell you that you could be lenient. If the husband is away, he's on a business trip, he's overseas, the rabbis still say make sure to always do the bidikot. Make sure not to miss it, just in case, first of all, he can come home early at any moment, many times. So even if it's not early, by the time that he comes home, she would be all ready. So she shouldn't mess up on it, and she should be in that mode of always doing the checks. And then Bezat Hashem will get involved if she should go to the mikveh. That's a whole different thing. Let's say he's not home. Should she go to the mikveh or should she not go to the mikveh? Should she wait for him to go to the mikveh? So we'll see that at a different shi'ud. Now,
Okay, what's the difference if he's...
we should do the next
What,
one.
he has nothing to do with it. The mikveh has nothing to do with him. I thought. Ezav doesn't have to wait for his wife.
Yeah, but Maran says, so Shulchan Aruch brings down that demons take it's dangerous for a woman to go to the mikveh and not be with her husband, because since she's in a state of purity, the demons don't like it. The Sitra Achra doesn't like that, and he tries to mess her up. God forbid. So they say that if she has to do it, they say better not to. You shouldn't go to the mikveh. The time that he's going to come home, that night you go to the mikveh. So she does all the clean days. She's good, and then she goes to the mikveh a week later when he comes home. If for some reason he can't do it, they bring down that she should put a knife under her pillow. I once asked the rabbi, does it have to be like a metal knife? He said, no, even a plastic knife. Put a knife under her pillow, and then it's okay. Then
After she goes to the mikveh.
Yeah, then she won't get hurt from any of these types of things. The Kaf HaChaim brings down she could take she could take his shirt and put it under the pillow, and that'll be okay as well. But the minhag seems like that it's better not to do it, and you refrain. I did ask 2 rabbis; they both told me don't do it. Don't let her go to the mikveh until you're for sure coming home. Now, and they actually ask it. Sometimes if you go to the mikvaot and the woman's
Is your husband in town?
Right, or she'll say, oh, my husband's out of town, and they'll say, you really shouldn't do it.
Right.
They'll tell her not to do it. Now, the last thing we're going to conclude with this is regarding miscarriages. God forbid if someone has a miscarriage, which happens quite often, lo alenu. The statistics are every 4 people have a miscarriage. That's how common it is. So 1 out of every 4 people have a miscarriage. So if that does happen, the pasuk says, that for a man, for a boy, you have to wait 7 days. So you need 7 days, right? It's from the Torah. You have to wait 7 days.
Somebody has a boy, she has to wait 7 days.
Right, she has to wait 7 days for sure. Nowadays, they don't let you have relations anyway for weeks after, by a miscarriage or not by a miscarriage, right? So 6 weeks, you'll be, for the most part, a woman will be bleeding, so you won't be able to have it. But even by a miscarriage, where it's going to be less, they still don't let you have relations for at least 2 weeks, for sure. When they have to do a DNC. So, but the halacha is that 7 days for a boy and 14 days for a girl. That's how long you have to wait. Now, if the child is so young that you don't know which gender it is, we're machmir that you have to wait 14 days anyways.
What's the difference between a boy and girl?
It's Gezerat HaKatuv, it's from the Torah. Torah just says a boy 7 and a girl 14.
It's a pasuk. It says,
Right, so we're not gonna fight with that. But Lama'aseh, for the most part, it doesn't happen, and they bleed for much longer, and the doctors don't let you do it any time during that period anyways, so it won't be a problem. Okay? Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen v'Amen.
Oh.